Tell me your story and I'll give you 10 rupees. You would have seen me holding this board on FC Road, talking to strangers. Hello everyone, my name is Raj Dagwar, an alumnus of PICT, a software engineer and a mental health worker. PICT has been my home for almost 5 years. I've spent a huge amount of my life here. I stayed in college in my first year. I hardly remember attending any classes during that period of time. Always woke up 5 minutes before the lecture. I looked at my roommate, he looked at me, and we both had the same question in mind. Aaj jana hai kya? And we would both reply at the same time, let's skip today. So one fine morning, on my birthday, my father came to surprise me all the way from Dubai. As I wasn't attending classes, he went to talk to my teachers and asked them about my academics. He thought I was there in class and he could not see me until the lunch break. So he went to my chemistry teacher and asked her, ma'am, do you know Raj? She said no. So then my dad showed her a picture of me and she said, yeah, he's a very nice student, he's a very bright student, he's good in academics, he is always there in class, he attends every class of mine, he's sitting in front and always answers everything. But then she pulled up my records, my unit test marks, my attendance, my practical records, and her immediate reaction was, अरे ये तो बहुत बेकार स्टूडेंट है, बिल्कुल क्लास अटेंड नहीं करता, असाइनमेंट सबमिट नहीं किए हैं, यूनिट टेस्ट में एब्सेंट है. And my dad was shocked. My teachers always expected so high of me, and why wouldn't they? I was really a bright student after all, but at the same time a notorious kid. Be it always talking during lectures or at some extents even singing in them. I was very disoriented, but after that day I decided to get my life back on track. I was very regular in classes. My class coordinator convinced my dad he'll get my life back on track. My attendance was about to cross 75% and I fell down the stairs. It broke my leg. I had plaster for almost 3 weeks. Ultimately, I missed many lectures, got a few backlogs. A backlog is an exam that I did not clear. And for clearing the year, I needed to clear at least 5 subjects out of 10. I got 19 out of 50 in most of the subjects and my credit score was 24. I needed just one mark to not lose an year. I applied for rechecking, but no changes. Life had hit me in the gut for taking everything granted. It was very shameful for me, from being a kid who was always a topper to being a kid who was left behind. I felt very lost. Lucky for me, my parents were very supportive and gave me a friendly environment. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been this courageous to go again and face all the exams. My third semester, I scored very good overall. I only had one backlog. I proved to my parents that yes, I got what it takes to be a good engineer. But then came a point in my life where I started to fail in my relationship. I tried as hard as I could to do everything to be a better partner for my girlfriend. The relationship had become so toxic that it started taking a toll on my mental health. I did not realize that I had ruined my sleep cycle. I used to binge watch a lot for no reason. I did not feel like eating. I always felt lethargic and tired even after doing nothing. Needless to say, I was not attending classes. Indirectly, my relationship with my parents was ruined. I used to hate talking to them. Every call we had, they used to ask me about my college and I would lie. My life wasn't moving anywhere and I was lost. I started having issues with my friends too at the same time. The more I tried to fix things, the more I felt broken. All the things that mattered to me were going against me. You wouldn't believe, one semester I had 6 backlogs. That is 6 subjects out of 7 I did not clear. Adding up previous semester backlogs, I had 15 and I had 21 exams to give in one go. Most of them were critical. During this period, I was at my home. Every time I faced my parents, I felt like a loser. My life wasn't moving forward again. Then came a time I couldn't take it anymore. I thought it will be better if I end it. As I stood on the edge of my balcony, I thought, even if I died today, who would care? The only reason that I did not take that step that day was my parents. I wasn't scared of death, but I was scared of the scars I would leave behind. That's when Zakir Khan's line, a famous comedian in India, hit me the most. मुझे लाइफ में जितना गिरना था मैं गिर चुका हूँ, इससे ज़्यादा अब क्या हारना. अब इसके आगे जो भी करूँगा एक पॉजिटिव ग्रोथ की तरह रहेगा. I had already lost everything. Whatever I would do from this point onwards would only be positive. One fine day, I was called to class by one of our teachers. I was always a happy kid, but lately I had started behaving very low and alone. She asked me to visit the counselor in a college. I was not sure at first. I thought, it is something sketchy. But I said, let's give it a try. What would go wrong? So, to my surprise, after 1 hour of continuously expressing myself, I realized I had so much in my heart which needed to be expressed. It felt so light after letting everything out. I understood I was overthinking a lot, and in order to get things straight, I would have to fix my sleep schedule, which I eventually did. People are saying that Raj is a psycho, he's mental, he's going to Dimag ka doctor. And I realized there is so much of stigma going around mental health, that a person seeking help, a professional help, is demotivated by saying things like this about him, instead of being supported. That kind of made me feel ashamed of going to a therapist. The people who I thought would understand me the most were doubting me and making fun of me. So I started working on my issues. I did not bother what they were saying. I said, whatever is happening, it's making me feel better about myself. So when I started working on my issues, I gave my 110% into it. I did everything perfectly. Soon I was physically and mentally fit. One day I was scrolling Instagram and I saw this picture. And at that exact moment, I knew I had to do this. Do this to help people around me. Even though I had the social anxiety hitting me, what would people say? How will people look at me? And everything. I said, let's do it. Maybe I could help one person. At least one person who's suffering. So when I went out there on 5th December 2020, it was the most fulfilling and amazing day of my life. Look at these beautiful smiles. I've met amazing people since then. I remember on the second day of me being out there, I was about to leave and this young guy, about 19 to 20 years old, came to me and wanted to talk. I was already very tired, but when he started talking to me, I felt all my pain go away, and I was one with him in his story. We went on to talk about for 2 hours that day, and at the end of the conversation, he only said one thing, and it has stuck to me until this day. He said, Raj, if I had not met you today, I'm really not sure what I would have done after going back home. That statement moved me. This person was really suicidal, and I might just have saved him. It gave me strength to go out there and carry out this initiative again and again. On Instagram, a guy who was doing masters reached out to me. He was severely overthinking and making unreal scenarios in his head. He had issues about his girlfriend, something in his relationship. He wanted to talk about it. After talking to him, I made him realize the difference between real and imaginary situation he had in his mind. Once he had that clarity, he was feeling very relieved. Moreover, he really lacked focus on his studies and motivation for his work. So I talked to him. I told him how law of attraction works, how you can attract good things in your life, how your positive intent can bring positive changes in your life. And since then he has always been motivated. And there are times when he feels low, he comes to me when he's feeling a little low. But I make sure I give him a right motivation and make him motivated about his future at the end of the conversation. As I went on doing this, I met a few people who weren't comfortable talking to me in public. So they would often take my number. So one day I received a call from an unknown number. That person said, I'm standing on the terrace, I'm holding a knife in my hand, I'll either cut myself or jump off. I have tried everything. Nothing seems to work for me. You are my last hope. It was pretty intense to get a call so randomly at a random afternoon. But I regained my posture. I understood that just like every other person who wants to be heard, she is the same. So I calmed her down. I told her to go into her room and we'll have a conversation. When she sat down nicely, calmly, I told her that you can express anything that you want to, and I am there for you. She said, every person that came in my life has left me. I'm 27 years old and I can't find the right partner. I recently left a job for my business and now my business is also not working. I've started having panic attacks recently. I feel like a failure. I feel like giving up. We went on to talk for another hour. I told her how me going to a psychologist has helped me personally and she should give it a try, because dealing with panic attacks is really hard, and to recover from that we need professional help. So if anyone among you is going through similar things, you should go to psychologists and take professional help. I'm really happy to say that she is recovering at a really fast pace, and she has reported she is in constant contact with me and keeps on texting me how that day, that moment has changed her whole life. I meet a lot of teenage students who are suffering a lot in their relationship and hating their parents. Lockdown has been really hard for everyone. One such 19-year-old reached out to me on a very frustrated note and angry on her parents, hating every inch of her stay at her home. Small things starts to matter a lot when we are stuck in one place with same people for a long time. I talked to her and changed her perspective on life, parents, by talking to her and giving her a positive outlook on life. Telling her how a positive approach towards things can bring a positive reaction from people around you. And that has brought a huge positive change in her life. Our positive actions can bring huge positive reactions and promote a healthy environment in our home. We have to understand this, since lockdown has been really hard for every one of us. Not just teenagers, but people of age more than 45 have also met me on FC Road. I want to share a similar incident. One evening I met a very energetic and beautiful aunt who came all the way from Lucknow to Pune to meet her son. She was very sad because she had expected her son to be really happy with her presence, but in turn he was very angry with her arrival. He felt his freedom was compromised and he wanted her gone. She felt very hurt and cried on the road in front of me. I felt really sad that there was nothing I could do to make her feel better. She then gave me a tight mama bear hug and said she felt like I was like her own son. I gave her that 10 rupees that day, and she said that she'll keep it with her close to her heart always. And that has made a huge impact in my life. That happiness that you can give with a small conversation can make a huge difference in someone's life. There were more than 1,53,000 suicides in the year 2020, while the deaths by COVID cases was 1,49,000. You can understand the severity of the situation. COVID vaccines can be medically produced, but what about suicides? Who's going to make vaccines for them? There were many people around me who took the wrong step. I feel like if I could have just talked to them for 5 minutes, it would have made a huge difference in their life and they would have been alive right now. Just reaching out to them at the right time would have been really important. Where in each city, there will be at least one person, at least one Raj, with whom you can talk your heart out without being judged. So this initiative that I started alone has made impact on many beautiful souls around. Many beautiful people stepped up to do this exact same thing that I'm doing. You can see in these pictures. Our team of 80 volunteers is growing at a rapid speed to help every individual who reaches out to us. Since we could not talk to each one physically, we took this initiative online to reach out many people in need. In today's world, when we are all busy with our own work, family and life, so busy that we often forget that our own friends are suffering. To change that, every person that I talk to physically, I give them 10 rupees and ask them to take out time from their own lives and talk to their friends who are acting a little different, a little hurt or a little stressed. And give them this 10 rupees and ask them to help someone else out and keep the chain moving. In this way, we'll form a chain where we'll take out time from our lives to help others around us and promote a healthy environment. I'm sure if we promote this, one day there won't be a day when you will need me or my volunteers, and I'm looking forward to that day. When I fell in the pool of depression, I could have easily taken the wrong step. But I thank God every day for giving me that wisdom to not do it. Now I have dedicated my life for people. I believe if we all come together, we can tackle depression to benefit our nation and the world at large. Being mentally fit is equally important as being physically fit. Let's spread mental health awareness and make our world a better place to be. Let's change lives one story at a time. Thank you.